Celebrations this evening, we want to recognize and thank Mr. David Minks of Davis, California, for his generous donation of a silver flute valued at $450 to our Visual and Performing Arts program. We also want to recognize and thank Ms. Juanita Patterson and Ms. Breanne Harris for their generous donations for Riverbank Elementary third grade field trip. Appreciate very much our community support. The final celebration is an update on Measure V. We have forwarded information to the board regarding our oversight committee. We're going to have our first meeting, in fact, next Wednesday night. So you receive the information in the packet. It's going to be a working group the first time we come together. And Scott has something, I think, to show the board that is a prototype for the bond measure work we'll be starting soon. Scott?
Thank you. I'll turn this, I'm going to put it back down so we can go on the camera. But you asked to have a sign put out in front of all the schools. So we're working on that. We have a couple of language things that we want to play around with as far as when the particular projects will be completed. But we went back, we had a couple different color schemes that we looked at. Decide on the red, white, and blue, picking up your new logo, the red for the WS for West Sac. And is there a way, Angela, we can get that so that it's on the, using the overhead camera? Really? I'll hold it up again.
You can do it again.
The low-tech
If
version.
you put it here, usually it's the overhead camera. So,
You have to.
so it has your red for West Sac Unified School. This one.
Then you can lay it back down.
Oh, I think.
Oh, there it goes.
Where we had in the first place. So again, this is just a mock-up. What will go in front of every school. A sign is approximately 4 feet by 8 feet. It's being designed to stay there 4 years as we go through the bond program. And recall your bond program is a 5-year program. Bonds will be issued in 3 different phases, and so some of the changes that you'll see on the final sign is it'll have estimated completion dates for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and then per school site, the different projects that will happen amongst those 3 phases. We expect to have these signs on the sites before summer. I think I was working with this, we're 60 days out, 60, 90 days out, and we'll have the signs installed. Since the signs are going to be out there for an extended period of time, they will also have anti-graffiti material on them, so we'll be able to come in and pull layers off to get rid of graffiti, so we won't have some of the challenges we had when we did solar power phase 2 and the Bridgeway sign got vandalized and it was expensive to replace it. So we've learned from that mistake in the past. So just wanted to share that with you. If you have any additional input on it, you can feel free to contact me. I can send you this artwork as well. It's a PDF file, so you can see it and then know that we're moving forward on that. Also, the committee meeting, our first meeting. I mentioned that. Okay, so our first meeting being next week. So moving forward with Measure V, very, very happy that we got the support from the public and keep moving forward to make the facility improvements in the district.
Thank you. I think Ms. Leland had a comment.
I just wanted to comment on the item, and we have it every time we have a board meeting, the celebrations of those that give us donations for different schools. And I know with the private nonprofit that I'm involved in, we have the board members write a thank you note to the donors before we start any meeting. And I thought it would be nice if staff had the time to give us the name and the address of those that donate to our schools, and then the board members that wanted to, follow up with a card or a thank you note. I think it's a nice touch. I know it's meant a lot to the donors in our foundation, and I think calling out the name and what they've given at a school board meeting is really nice, but to have a personal handwritten note from somebody on the board or students is a lot more effective. So,
Thank you. We are to J here on number 1, Student Board Member Report. Welcome.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I will not be doing K-8 news today. However, I'll skip straight to River City. River City's social events are pretty calm right now because all focus is on preparing seniors for the next step, college. Seniors are given an opportunity to sign up for FAFSA and also to register for community colleges with the help of counselors and college representatives. River City's music department also had a successful mattress fundraiser. All proceeds went to support the River River City Regiment. Thank you, Anthony Marvelli, for putting together this event and for all the hard work you do. As for sports, tomorrow is the Boys League Championship here at River City. Wear Raider gear and get in for only $1. Also, spring has hit River City early this year and is blooming beautifully. River City Spring Sports has began their first steps to success. Good luck swim, tennis, softball, baseball, and track. And this is all for River City.
Thank you. WTA?
Good evening. Our bargaining team will be meeting with the district next week, and we look forward very much to getting things wrapped up. I know we just have a little bit of language left, and then, of course, salary and benefits. So hopefully you will take a hard look at what we've proposed later on this evening, and hopefully we can have something to work on when we meet with our counterparts later next week sometime. The LCAP. So I know that's coming up. I just wanted to say that I had a very productive meeting with Gwen Dillinger today, and she's the person in the district who is marshaling all the LCAP. And my concern has been that I didn't think there was enough opportunities for input into this year's report and the process. And I was happy to learn that the district is adding another community meeting and is also willing to meet with the association directly. And so I'm trying to schedule something with our members and allow them to have some direct contact with the district on this. So I'm really encouraged with what I heard today, and I think the process is moving forward well. Speaking of things that start with L, LCFF, I've been getting a couple of questions from members and I don't have the answer, so I'm hoping we can encourage the district to present an update soon, especially as regards to budgets. The questions I've been getting is that they've heard that the district has gone over budget on one part or another part of the implementation plan, and again, I have no knowledge of it, so maybe it's time for an update. I'm still getting over last weekend. I'm still exhausted. We had a total of 39 teachers in San Jose for the Good Teaching Conference, starting on Friday with our grant recipients participating in the expo and the Good Teaching Conference, and then with 36 people showing up Friday night for the remainder of the weekend. So it was a great event, and I believe that most of the teachers who participated had a very, very productive weekend, and I know it was quite an exhausting process keeping track of everybody and their hotels and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So I'm hoping we can continue that, and I'm hoping now that all these teachers back from San Jose are excited and are working with their colleagues on implementation of the Common Core. Elkhorn. Angela, I believe, gave you a little sheet of paper. I heard from our wonderful teacher over there, Anselmo Marin. He has set up a math competition on site, and this math competition will be on February 21st from 8:30 to 12:30. The exciting things, okay, this is on a Saturday. The exciting thing, math competition, he's got 115 kids who are going to show up on a Saturday for a math competition. So that seems pretty remarkable to me. So I was excited to hear about that, and I wanted to make sure you folks knew, and hopefully can stop by and see what they're up to over there. I was going to say something about our basketball team, but you beat me to the punch on that one. So that's an exciting game for tomorrow night, and I'm hoping you guys can come. And on that note, I'm hoping everybody will have a nice holiday weekend. And Becky, I hope your knee continues to get better. And Scott, take care of your cold. Okay, thank you.
CSEA, Deborah?
Thank you and good evening. I just want to say that we had negotiations yesterday and we finally completed 13-14 school year negotiations dealing with transportation and a couple evaluation forms. I thought the meeting went very good, and I'm hoping we can continue with the mutual feelings and sharing concern on both sides for our next date. We have even set negotiations for the new contract year 14-15, which was you guys I think have already saw in the board agenda. So we have dates set for that next month. But we are done with the old language with the transportation finally, and I'm going to be ratifying that language with the members next week. And happy holiday this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. We're down to public comments. I'm going to read our disclaimer. At this time, the members of the public may address the board on topics that are under the jurisdiction of the board and are not on the agenda, although the board by law may not take action at this meeting. Education Code 3514535. The board may limit the total time for public input on any topic to 20 minutes unless it chooses to waive the item limit for a particular item. Individual speakers may be limited to 3 minutes to comment on any topic. Public comments consisting of individual charges, complaints, or derogatory remarks about any district employee are requested to submit in writing to the administration in accordance with the district's complaint procedure. And I know we have quite a few public comments, and we are going to try to stick to the 20-minute time limit as close as possible. So first I have Julie Harrington. Julie Harrington?
Yes. I'm here to represent my great-granddaughter, who possibly will be attending Lighthouse Charter School in West Sacramento. I have a concern with what seems to be, to me, a discrepancy between what Lighthouse Charter School is telling the Washington Unified School District in its petition and what it's telling me. On page 21 of the petition, it states, as the next generation of history, social science, and science standards are approved and brought online, the charter school will adopt and include those standards in its educational delivery system. And then on page 23, once the state adopted curriculum resources to be used by the charter school have been identified, teachers will attend training and correspond with the textbook adopted by the charter school, and administrators will also be trained to support effective implementation of the adopted material. I have a problem with what the Lighthouse Charter School is telling Washington Unified School District in its petition, because they are telling me quite the opposite. They tell me Lighthouse Charter School will not teach the new state standard adopted material, period. They have said, yes, it is the law, but we can get around it. It's not going to happen. So which is it? I need for Washington Unified School District to seek clarification for me. Is Lighthouse Charter School going to teach my great-great-granddaughter the state-adopted LGBT contributions to society textbook content standard or not? Thank you.
Steve Lewis.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. First of all, I just want to thank especially the superintendent, board member Cruz, and board member Kirby Gonzalez for the meeting we had last Friday with our board president, our CBO Peter Stone, and also another board member, Darren Hall. I just really want to touch base on one of the most important things that I heard from that meeting. It's the the willingness to open up that collaboration once again and realize that our intent in this district is to partnership and create something very special for the children and the families of West Sacramento. So I want to thank you for that very valuable meeting we had last Friday. I also am very excited about the agreement that we're going to look towards a full resolution to understand where we are with our fall start of 2015. And I want to extend that invitation I do at every board meeting. Please come out and visit us. Members of the committee behind me or community behind me, I'd also like them to come out too. So we are hosting usually tours on Wednesdays. We're averaging about 20 to 25 every Wednesday. So I'd love to have any of you that are interested in what we're doing in our charter movement in Clarksburg and what we're going to be replicating here at the Lighthouse in West Sac in the fall to please join me. So thank you very much again.
Thank you. Darren Hall.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Darren Hall, and I am the board president for the River School, which is working very hard with you to look towards the Lighthouse School here in West Sacramento. And again, I want to thank Ms. Cruz and Ms. Kirby-Gonzalez and the superintendent for the meeting that we had the other evening, last week. The one thing I really want to say is thank you, because you gave us the opportunity to self-reflect on our communication and what we were trying to do. There's a lot of things we're trying to do, but one thing we can't let happen is the breakdown in communication and understanding and teamwork that we need to be here with the district. So you gave us a gift, and I appreciate that. And on behalf of the full board, we have tasked staff to communicate you like you've never been communicated with. And please reach out to us if there's any questions, but we will be coming to at least every board meeting if we can, just to at least say we're here and be able to answer any questions you have. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Lindsay Smith.
Good evening, members of the board, superintendent. My name is Lindsay, and I have 3 children. 2 of them are currently enrolled in schools in the Washington Unified School District. My oldest son is in 1st grade, and I was recently approached by an educator of his who knows him very well and recommended that I place him in a different program where he will be more challenged academically. He likes school, but it is very easy for him, and I can see him starting to get bored with his schoolwork because he's not being as challenged as I feel he should be. Both my husband and I went to college. Education is very important to us, and our son is very bright, and we don't want him to get overlooked. So we believe that all 3 of our children would really benefit from a program like the one that we have observed at DEX. So I ask that you please take the necessary steps to make sure that the Lighthouse Charter School is available as an option for those students who might benefit from it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Erin Glenn.
Good evening, members of the board and superintendent. Thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. My name is Erin Glenn, and I live here in West Sacramento with my husband and my 3 children. They're 12, 9, and 5. I currently homeschool my kids, but I'm here tonight in support of Lighthouse Charter opening in the fall. While living in West Sacramento for the last 9 years, my kids have gone to schools both in the district and also outside of the district. I'd like to share a bit of our story with you. When our oldest daughter turned 5, we were confident in sending her to our neighborhood school. At 5 years old, she was curious, intelligent, enthusiastic about learning, and really excited to start kindergarten. However, after just a week of school, her light dimmed and her energy drained. Once home, even after only a half day of school, she'd take several hours to reboot. I thought she was burnt out from a new schedule and that soon she'd adjust and become her usual happy self, but she seemed to have permanently lost her spark. After a long year of trying to engage her, we realized she needed another option. We enrolled her in the Natomas Charter PACT program, which is a blend of homeschool and on-campus classes. It was a perfect fit for the next several years. She excelled academically, she matured socially, and was fully engaged with her teachers, her peers, and the curriculum. Her spark returned, and she blossomed in her new environment. Our son enjoyed kindergarten in the PACT program, but he craved the social aspects of a more traditional school setting. He attended Delta Charter for first grade, and our experiences there were all positive. He thrived in the warm, sincere community environment where everyone knew his name. He enjoyed classroom time, and our family benefited richly from the school-home community connections that Delta made. Unfortunately, after first grade, we withdrew him as the cost of commuting to Clarksburg put a financial strain on our family. Over a year ago, as our oldest daughter approached 6th grade, we decided to try a Washington Unified School again. We thought she would benefit from attending a local school, making friends in her own community, and bonding with teachers as she prepared for high school. Last year, she attended a neighborhood school, and all year long, she struggled with being bullied by her peers who picked on her for her desire to excel academically. Upon winning 2nd place at the spelling bee, she had trouble celebrating because she was thinking about the kids who would make fun of her for it the next day at school, which they did. She stuck out the entire school year. She made good grades and a few friends, but her joy, curiosity, and enthusiasm for learning waned again. We're currently homeschooling through another charter program, and my kids are confident, happy, and energetically exploring their interests. Since neither of my older children will be able to attend Lighthouse Charter, I'm here tonight mostly for my 3rd child, who is 5 and ready for kindergarten in the fall, and also for the other children here in our community who need another option for school. After my positive experiences utilizing school choice outside of our community, I'm convinced that our community would greatly benefit from honoring school choice within West Sac. And I encourage you to make sure Lighthouse Charter opens in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you. Kirsten Yates.
First of all, I'd want to thank the members of the school board for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kirsten Yates, and I'm a West Sacramento parent of 2 children. Not long after my older daughter was born, we noticed that her development was pretty different. We spent the last 6 years working overtime to meet her needs for her health, for her well-being, and for her education. We started working with our local school district at the time in 2011 and with multiple private preschools to provide her with social opportunities to try to meet her needs. When we moved to West Sacramento a little over 2 years ago, we found a placement within the Washington Unified School District for the remainder of her time in preschool, but we still faced the challenge of finding a future school placement. We wanted to be able to find a setting where we could provide both of our kids with continuity and opportunity. We started researching kindergarten options. I wanted to find an educational setting that would motivate my child and continue to nurture her spark and fervor for learning. We toured Westmore Oaks, Bridgeway Island, and Southport Elementary and observed multiple classrooms at each site. We also toured numerous private schools. We finally found a school that was a great fit for our family at Sacramento Country Day School. At Country Day, we knew our child would be motivated, her creativity could shine, and she would have amazing opportunities for learning. We applied right away to the school, and my daughter was enthralled after spending a day in the classroom with the other children. Sadly, we learned that our daughter wouldn't have the option to attend there because Country Day was not willing to work with her needs. This left us hoping that she could be successful with the one option left for us, her placement within Washington Unified. We've also applied to the Delta Charter Lottery because of the amazing feedback from friends and coworkers who have children attending the charter school, and because I would love both of my children to be able to access a public education within a setting like Delta Charter. Although my older daughter is currently doing well within her classrooms with the help of her dedicated teachers at Bridgeway Island, we don't know how long she'll be able to attend that school since it's not our local school. It's also very unlikely that our younger daughter will be able to attend the same school as her sister since Bridgeway Island is so impacted. And it's very important to our family to be able to invest in our children's school and education and that our kids aren't separated because of ability or capacity. My voice represents just one of the many parents ready to invest my time and talents into my kids' public education. I'm a strong proponent of utilizing and investing in public education options, and I firmly believe that our school district and West Sacramento families will benefit from a cooperative, positive collaboration on moving West Lighthouse Charter School forward. I'm excited at the prospect of having both my children attend the same local school with a diverse population representative of the city of West Sacramento. I'd like to urge all the board members to take action with all the necessary steps to open Lighthouse Charter this fall. I believe our city, public education, and most of all, our kids will benefit from the added diversity in public education. Thanks.
Thank you. Karina Orozco?
Thank you. Thank you, members of the board. My name is Karina Orozco. I'm a mom of 4. My 2 daughters are 11 years old and 8 years old, but I have 2 little boys, 4 and 3. And my eldest is, I hope, will attend Lighthouse Charter in August. 6 months ago, my family and we moved from Bridgeway Lakes to 15th Street because we wanted to create a better life for our kids. We wanted a smaller house. We wanted to have time. We're both law enforcement, my husband and I, and we wanted to spend our time with our children, teaching them the simple values and really investing the freedom of our schedules to educate them. And we wanted to have the opportunity to enroll them in a great school. Unfortunately, the miscarriage of our decision was that our local school really didn't suit the needs of my eldest. My son Noah, he suffers from some type of behavioral issues. Specifically, he's got a little social anxiety that we're trying to help him with. A lot of kids have it. But nonetheless, like I speak for every mother who wants the best for her child, right? I mean, every child we have is so precious. And my husband and I are really seeking out our options. When we heard about Lighthouse, it became just a fantastic possibility for us. I've been familiar with the charter school movement. I did a master's thesis in charter schools for underprivileged kids and special needs kids, looking as a viable option back when they were first thought of and the movement was thriving. One of the things that I like is the flexibility, the unstifled creativity, the ability to tailor the education to our children that charters can offer. I think that with a challenging curriculum, high academic standards of qualified teachers, and the ability for parental involvement and local control, we can have something really great in West Sacramento. Not that we don't have great schools already, we just can have more. I mean, we're investing all of this money, which is great, in our infrastructure. We're beautifying our great city. We have so many fantastic leaders who are coming forth to make this place, it's amazing compared to where we've come. And all we need to do now is make our educational system at the same level. And that allows our children, many of whom are on this side of the community, to not have to travel 20 minutes to Clarksburg or pay if their parents can't afford education. And we can. I'm not speaking for my family, but I'm saying, what about the other children whose families really do want to have their child get a great quality education? You know, these are prospects that might seem very foreign to them. We just need a realistic choice. I think Lighthouse is the first step in that movement. And I think that unless we provide our children with a very viable possibility for educational development, that all the investments we make in our infrastructure might be doomed. And I don't want to be too extreme, but I mean that, you know, we really need to invest in our new leaders so that we can continue the movement that we've created. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Peter Stone?
Thank you, Board. And I'm Peter Stone, CBO of River Charter Schools, and I just wanted to take this opportunity just to thank Board Member Cruz and Board Member Kirby Gonzalez and Superintendent Gilliard for meeting with our Board President, Vice President Superintendent Lewis, and myself last Friday to openly talk as well as discuss issues and misunderstandings. It was a great opportunity to clear up some of those, but I think most importantly, for everyone present to hear that Washington Unified and Lighthouse Charter both want and are committed to open communications and collaboration as we move forward to benefit families and the children of West Sacramento. I'm very happy to be able to announce tonight that we have signed agreements and conditional use permits with the city, applications I should say, for both churches as of today. And so I can now tell you that we will be starting Lighthouse Charter School this fall in Trinity Presbyterian Church of West Sacramento and First Baptist Church of West Sacramento, 2 churches that are very close to each other at the intersections of 15th Street and Park and 15th and Delaware. And so I'd just like also to say, please feel free to contact Superintendent Lewis and I directly to let us know any information that you will want, and we will strive to provide it, but more importantly, to work collaboratively together with the district on a number of fronts. And we appreciate the actions that you will take between now and your February 26th board meeting to facilitate and ensure the planned fall opening of Lighthouse Charter. Thank you.
Thank you. Board and superintendent comments. Ms. Board Member Alcala?
None.
None? Ms. Villegas?
You're asking for updates, right?
Comments?
Comments.
Updates?
Comments. Well,
Events.
I would like to say that Sarah and I had a great 2x2 with the city of West Sacramento, our first one, and we got to discuss a lot of exciting opportunities. An after-school program at River City for high school students, working with the city on that, I think. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I think. And then potential rec center passes for Washington Unified employees, which was an exciting opportunity, I think, for us too. And then a long-standing item that I think has been on my list of opportunities for quite some time, Bright Park, and making that the park that it needs to be, and negotiating with the city on what we need to do to make that happen. So some exciting topics, and look forward to our next meeting. Thanks.
Board Member Leland?
Our committee meetings with Universal Preschool are quarterly, and so we don't have another meeting until April. I just wanted to reiterate the announcement that Dawn gave about the math competition at Elkhorn, and I wanted to thank our partners. I know UC Davis Engineering, Intel, and Mesa are partners for that event, and so I think it's just very exciting, and I hope to attend and watch these 115 math gurus at work from Elkhorn, so excited about that. Thank you.
Board Member Kirby Gonzalez?
And I just today got an email also from Elkhorn to go to robotics, their robotics class, and I know they have Minecraft too. So big shout out to Elkhorn tonight, and thanking them for everything. Thank you also to the teachers who all went to the Good Teaching Conference. While it might have been sponsored by the district, it's also people giving up their free time, their weekend time, which is valuable. And I don't think people always realize that they're not necessarily paid for those things. They're just excited to go for free. So thank you to all of them for going. On that note, I'll be missing the first meeting in March. I'll be in Washington, D.C. for a teaching and learning conference. So I will be at my own conference that time. We did have a great meeting at 2x2. We also had the Curriculum Council. Thank you for entertaining my daughter, who came and wrote notes, and I have a Frozen sticker all over my Curriculum Council pieces. It was a good meeting, a good discussion. No new courses are coming up, but there was discussion about the Smarter Balance Assessment. And so with that, I would like to publicly just share that the Smarter Balance test that we're taking, for example, in my classroom, my students are taking it in March. And obviously, they're not going to be done with the school year. So I just want us all to be aware that the testing window is big. It's hard to get kids in there. And I think our focus needs to not be on that test and that number, but really on what we're doing in the classroom every day for those kids. And I hope that our direction is not getting kids in and doing a lot of test prep practice. I would prefer that it's good, meaningful teaching, of course. And with that, I appreciate, too, Dr. Gillian gave me a good article on technology. And we are so fortunate to have Kim, our coordinator of technology, and appreciate that we approved that position. This article talks a lot about other districts, what they've done well, what they have not done well when it comes to technology. And I think that we have a really strong plan that we need to implement, but a really strong plan. And that's what this article is all about, making sure that you have that you have professional development in place, we have portfolios, we know where we want to go with technology, it's just a matter of getting there. So thank you for that, and it was good to reiterate that. And I think that is all for, and thank you to everybody who's done the online survey as well. And so I'd like to encourage all the parents who are here, there is an online survey right now for the district. You do not need to have students in the district to complete an online survey of what you would like to see. You can go to our district webpage. It is in English, it's in Spanish, and you can click on the right-hand column and list your priorities. And I appreciate that a lot of my neighbors and a lot of people I've talked to have told me that they have filled out the survey, and it was easy to do. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I'd like to also go ahead and thank the Lighthouse Charter staff and their board for coming out and meeting with us. And I can't believe Norma didn't discuss. Norma and I went out to River City High School. They have a fabulous coffee cafe run by some of the students. And I thank the board. They all donated, and we purchased a new latte machine for them and an espresso machine. So they have students running it. They take orders from the teachers. They run them to the teachers. So it's a great opportunity, great business. And Norm and I went out there, took some pictures, and it was just a great opportunity if you get to go out there and have coffee with the kids. The River City Athletic Booster Club, they are going to be hosting their first fish and chips all-you-can-eat fundraiser. It's going to be on April 17th from 4 to 8 at the VFW Hall on Drever. I have tickets if you're interested. They're $20 each, and the money goes towards the supporting all the athletic programs at the high school. Limited seating, so get your tickets early. Also, I'll be the chef, so sign the waiver. Also, the student touched on it, Dawn's touched on it, and I'll brag about it because my son's on the freshman high school basketball team. It is going to be a very exciting night tomorrow night. They're going to have a blackout. They're going to have the glow sticks, the band's out there playing. Come out and have a great time. We have a hidden menu at the snack bar. If you come by and ask what the hidden menu is, I'll tell you, but I'm not telling you tonight. Got to come out and figure it out tomorrow night. And I want to thank Katie and Oscar Villegas for the only people at this time donating $100 to the River City Athletic Booster Club for what we do as a half-court shot. So we sell raffle tickets. Somebody gets a chance to win $50. So anybody can sponsor that. There's a nice flyer with their names going around, so you can have that entertainment at halftime tomorrow. We also have hot dog, ketchup, and mustard students running around in the stands, throwing out gifts. So we're doing big things over there. So come on out, have a good time. And I attended the curriculum council with my board member here, Ms. Kirby Gonzalez. So we've been quite busy up here. And Dr. Gillian, did you have any comment?
Yes, thank you. Just real quickly, I want to reiterate what I heard Ms. Kirby Gonzalez say, and thank you for the mention about the Smarter Balanced Assessments. I want to assure you that we're not teaching to that test, and we're very relieved that the days of API and the points that were so critically important to all of us are diminished now based on multiple measures and more authentic assessments. So I think it becomes more seamless in terms of what we do instructionally in the classroom, and the test, I think, should take care of itself. One skill we are concerned about, and I think we do need to teach to, is really the logistical piece of using technology. Younger kids with the computers could be an impediment to their progress, and it may be difficult to really assess what they truly know and what they've mastered. So we will need to focus some attention there in that piece of the skill development, if you will. But in terms of the test, I think it's richly embedded in the curriculum and in the content that the teachers will be addressing each day. So we're very pleased with that and expect good things. But we do anticipate a dip as we acclimate to a new measure. So thank you for the comment.
Thank you. We're to item M, information and discussion items. Number 1, facility program update, Bright Career Technical Education Campus. Update number 2, Bridgeway Island 6 to 8 expansion. Update number 2, solar panel phase number 3. Update number 1, district office renovation. Update number 1, establish and implement the capital investment program for sustainability initiatives, facility improvements. That was a lot.
Ta-da.
I'm starting over. Let's go.
In way of introduction, this is Mr. Dan Carpenter, our consultant with Benchmark Consulting Groups. He's been working on these projects for us for the past several months, and we're excited to bring a presentation that will give the board an update on progress.
Good evening, everyone. So I've got 4 projects that I want to talk about. And let's start with Bright. I want to talk about the schedule first. The good news is we are on schedule. As a matter of fact, earlier this week, we received 3 bids from general contractors on the project. The bids ranged from a low of $6.3 million to a high of $7.3 million. So we're going to be taking the next couple of weeks to identify which contractor that we want to bring to you at the next board meeting that we want to partner with. And per our schedule, we will then begin pre-construction. Pre-construction will run into construction, and we will have Bright ready to occupy by August of this year. So what I'd like to do is take a look at a couple of the things specific to the Bright campus. The first thing I want to show you is the Bright site plan. Now, the reason I'm going to show this to you is we did something a little bit different. The last time we showed this to you, we had the passing of Measure V. And with that, we decided to add some scope. 3 things of importance. We decided to increase the scope of the site work that was originally discussed. We also decided to do additional upgrades to some of the other facilities at Bright. And then we decided to re-roof almost all of the projects. So all of the buildings that we've touched, we've re-roofed as well. All of this was in keeping with our board-approved CIP plan. So now let's take just a deeper dive into the upgrades. The first thing I want to show you is the administration wing. We're not doing a whole lot to this particular area, but we're mostly working on finishes, and we are making some modifications to the technology room. And I do want to point out, if you look at these drawings, there's a lot of detail. And there's a lot of detail because these are the real drawings that have been submitted for DSA approval. So we're way past the conceptual phase. And so what you're looking here is the culinary wing. And Bright Phase 1 culinary is a component of the larger hospitality tourism pathway. This, out of everything that we're doing, is also going to become the most challenging part of the construction because of what we're doing to this wing. The next thing I want to show you is the multi-purpose room. And again, you can still see all of the equipment and features that will go into the multi-purpose and dining room. Lastly, I want to talk to you about one of these new upgrades. This was originally a kindergarten. So what we've done is we've taken and we are going to remodel these 3 rooms and make those into high school classrooms. And we've also remodeled the toilet rooms. Next project, Bridgeway Island 6-8 expansion. We got really lucky on this. At the end of December, we were able to get an over-the-counter approval of our plans. That was huge for us. Also, earlier this week, we met with the contractor that we want to do work with, and we've confirmed pricing. We've agreed on all the details, and we will bring that contractor, we'll bring a lease-back document to you all within the next couple of weeks. Again, schedule is good. We will start work on Bridgeway Island the Monday right after school is out. And concurrent with that particular project, we will also be doing a fire alarm upgrade at the same school. So now let me show you just a site plan for the Bridgeway Island. What this is showing you is the 3 classrooms along with the science room. So just in terms of an orientation, Straight down from these classrooms would be the ballpark, the ball field, and the office would be to your upper right-hand corner. Next thing I want to show you is the detail of the classroom. Each classroom is going to be designed to hold 32 students and an instructor's desk at the front. We've got 3 of them. So this is a modular, but because of the size, we have to have really 2 modular buildings tied together with a seismic joint. And lastly, the last component of this is the science classroom. And again, also designed for 32 students. And you'll notice this has a number of sinks. And the one thing that we're working on right now is the furniture. We're trying to look into the 21st century furniture. And so this is going to be something that we're going to have to do in addition to construct this. We're going to have to make good purchases. And Scott and I are working together with Bill and his team to identify some options for furniture as well. Project number 3, solar. So we're making some really good progress with solar. We've actually met with the principals, we've met with city officials, we've met with fire, and I want to show you where we are. So this is the first project that I would like to talk to you about. So this is Alice Norman, and you'll notice a lot of information on these plans, and it's all important for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, the safety of the kids during the summer while these projects will occur. So what we've done is we've first identified where the solar array will be located, and then you'll notice the lines. If you see the red line shows the access for the fire trucks. So we've identified that. And then you'll notice a couple of other colored lines. It basically communicates the requirements of the design build solar contractor so that they can work on a site safely and keep our kids safe at the same time. Because this particular school has year-round things happening. So we've designed all of our work sites to be safe and secure with fencing. We've identified parking so that it doesn't leave anything to the imagination. All of these projects will really start construction right after school is over, and they will finish right before school starts. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow and Monday, we're taking advantage of some holidays to actually do some drilling to just understand better soils conditions. Here's the district office. Now, there's a couple of things going on here. Right now, what we're showing you in terms of these blue images, those are solar tees, something that you would normally see at Bridgeway Island, something that you would see at Southport. But here, we're looking at possibly putting the solar panels on the ground and fencing around them. So there's a discussion that we're having about that. And again, you can see the rest of the fencing that's happening. The other thing that I want to say about the district office is we're going to be talking about that in a minute, but we'll be talking about some additional efforts that we're going to be doing relative to site improvements. Next project, Elkhorn Village. And again, you can see more of the same. We haven't made a lot of adjustments to the design from what we originally showed you, but I would say we're probably 3 weeks away from going to a final design on all of this. But you can again see the fire lane, the things that are important, and you can see the parking. We've got basically everything planned out. Next is Westfield Village. You can see where we've got our 2 solar arrays. And some of these arrays, when we actually end up building these, we're going to have 2 different types. And by that I mean 2 different heights. Some will be 9 feet to 12 feet in height, and some will be 12 to 16 feet in height. And that's for bus traffic and things like that. This is the YOLO Education Center. So you can see that right behind the school is where we're planning for our solar arrays. And then here's the charter school. And we're planning to put the arrays on the asphalt. We used to have some portables there, but those are no longer there. We've moved them, we've repurposed them so that that site is all ready for to receive the solar. So the last thing I'd like to go over with you is the District Administration Building Modernization Project. Earlier this week, we had our first mandatory site walk with general contractors, and I did want to mention the general contractors that we use have all passed a pre-qualification process that we've instituted. We had 5 firms walk through, and by the end of this month, we're expecting to receive bids on this project so that we can finish the district building project roughly by the first week of, by middle of September. So this is a view of the 2 wings that we're going to be working on at the district. And just to give you a point of reference, the building to your far right, running up and down the page, we'll call that building A, but that's also at the very bottom, that's where the existing preschool is. And so as part of our efforts, we're going to be moving the existing staff into swing space. So we'll be moving everyone into the multipurpose room on a part-time basis while the construction is happening. But just for safety's sake, we're not going to do any building until both of those wings have been emptied, because we're going to be doing work on the roof. We're going to be doing work to put in new glass, and part of the work is going to be done in the preschool as well. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to just show you a larger image of the first wing and the second wing. And if you tilt your head, you'll see it. So this is actually wing A, but it's the top portion of wing A. And so one of the things that we're doing is we're introducing some new team space, and it's going to be team space that can be shared both by education services, HR, whomever, but it's going to be some nice space. We're doing ADA upgrades to the bathrooms. And the other thing that I want to point out is we've got some really interesting space that's going to be shared workspace. This is going to be a highly collaborative space, and our plan is to reuse all of the existing furniture that we have today. So as part of our plan, we're going to have we're going to move people into swing space. We're going to bring our furniture vendor in to take down our existing systems furniture, house it, clean it, and then reinstall it so that the purchases that we would make for this is very minimal. So let me show you the other half of this. So this is the bottom half, and you'll notice at the very far right of the drawing, that's the preschool. Right next to that is the server room. And then from that point on, you'll see the technology, the IT group. And the basic changes that we're making to the district space is we're going to be eliminating a lot of the tall glass, and we're going to be bringing the ceiling down to 10 feet. And that's going to make us a lot more energy efficient. We're going to be doing painting, we're going to be upgrading the finishes, and we're going to be re-roofing. I'd like to show you Wing B. So Wing B, again, at the very top, we've got restrooms that we are making ADA code compliant. And again, you'll see a series of workstations. And there is the tail of Wing B. And that's for blazingly fast projects. Questions?
I do have public comment. I have a public comment from Don Stoffer.
Sorry. I have some questions on the projects as described. I know in the bond, there was $19 million set aside for Bright. And this bid, of course, is much smaller than it. I realize things like fixtures and probably some other very expensive things that go into a culinary academy weren't included. But to everyone's knowledge, or to our consultant's knowledge, are these bids coming in way lower than expected? That would be a question. As we then move to Bridgeway, again, in the bond, there was $1.4 million set aside for that project. So I'm wondering about the need for a lease back there, given that we're only looking at 2 modular buildings. And so I'm wondering why that is being considered for that site. And as when you are looking at the science building and the furniture to be involved, are teachers being consulted on that? And then finally, as we get to the district office improvements, is this also anticipated to be funded with bond money, since the district office was not named specifically in the bond measure itself? I realize some of the improvements that need to be made there were anticipated, like the roof and probably some wiring and maybe ADA access, but certainly it didn't seem to me that the level of remodeling that's anticipated was considered as part of the bond, and so just a question there. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions, comments from the board? Go ahead.
I also wrote down number 1, 21st century furniture. I should have said we talked about it at curriculum, and it was very cool. Desks moved around. But as somebody who had furniture picked out for my classroom that I very much dislike, so I think we do need to be very careful. It's not just a consultation, does this look good to you, but really I think teachers should be driving the furniture, because we don't have to sit there. We need people who make it function clearly. So that also was one of mine. And another was some of the solar panels look like that are on the ground too. I was wondering if I know it costs more to put it over the parking lot, but it just seems like it makes a lot more sense to use it for shade than there's a lot of, like at the district office site, a couple others. If it's shade for kids or if it's shade for cars, it seems efficient. Some of them, the district office one was one that stood out. So what was the reasoning there to put them on the ground in the way they are?
I'll jump backwards, start with furniture. Furniture, what process we've gone through with furniture is, as Mr. Carpenter said, he had some meetings with Mr. Spalding, his team. It included Kim Harrelson. They went out to a couple of vendors, looked at some different furniture mock-ups, and instead of just saying those mock-ups will work, we're actually buying 2 mock-ups that cost about $18,000 a classroom. We're getting them for $1,800. And there is a high school classroom and a K-8 classroom that has been selected, and those mock-ups are going to go in the classroom. We'll probably catch the last 30 to 60 days of school, but be able to get some feedback from the teachers on how is that actually working in their classrooms versus just going and looking at something on a display floor and buying a whole bunch of it. So I think we're going through the process that you want to make sure happens and gain some teacher involvement. As far as the solar panels at the district office, the reason that they're not in parking lot configuration is because the 2 projects that we have going on there, the solar project was going ahead of the DO project, and frankly, it's going to be done first. We're still in the process of determining the back parking lot configuration itself. And so the reason we're going to go with the ground mounts is because cost, it's going to save about $100,000 versus the T-mounts, and they're in the bottom part of the campus because that's the part of the campus that frankly right now is completely underutilized. We're not sure if we're going to have additional reconfiguration of the buildings in the district office. We know that we're going to have to add some portable space for the bookstore. We also have a need for portable space for the transient teachers for the visually impaired population. They need a place to do to make books for Braille. And if you put them in any other office space, the machines are very, very loud, and so they kind of, they're afraid to come in and do their work because it makes so much noise. So we're going to set up a space specifically for them on the district office to be able to do that. So we're still in the process of formulating those things, and it's really a timing issue more than anything else. We can look at trying to flip-flop the timing, but with the contract that we have with up here, I'm not sure. And so we're kind of working with that, it's almost a cart before the horse for that particular site. But the rest of the sites, they were done shade structures for kids first.
I have a question. Could you please explain the leaseback option?
Sure. Leaseback is a contract delivery method where depending on what you're doing with a particular project, you either go design bid, where you design a project completely, you put it out, it's bid on a set, design bid build, which is you design it, someone comes in and bids and builds off of a variation of design, or it's leaseback, which gives you the ability to go through a contractor pool, have people bid on a set of plans, and then come in and get very specific on the cost. So that as you sign the contract for that particular project, you know what the cost is. Very low change orders, lots of control on the district's part as far as the contract itself and the costs that are going to go in and the parts and pieces that are going to go in. We've used a leaseback on a couple of projects in the district in the past, and it's been very effective for us. And there are other projects where we don't use a leaseback. For this particular one, because it is a modular building and we wanted to make sure that that building matched exactly the modular buildings that were already on the Bridgeway Island site, we chose leaseback. Because if we did not, your low bid could have been from a vendor who did not have that particular, the roofs at Bridgeway Island are pitched. They're not an A-frame side, they're straight pitched. And there's only a couple modular vendors that do that. So that was to make sure that we were able to control the way that that particular modular building looked and felt. We didn't want it to look like an afterthought. Did that answer the question?
What, Ms. Villegas?
Did it answer your question?
I'm sorry.
No, it did. I understand what you're saying. So that would give us more opportunity.
In this particular case, it creates an advantage for the district. There's multiple ways that you can deliver a facility project. And we'll look at each particular project and we will use a project delivery method that is to the district's advantage. That's really our driving force. If the project is better being a design bid build, so be it. We've done that before as well. For Bridgeway in particular, it's not a dollar threshold issue. It's controlling the design and having a very specific output that we want, that it's only going to be available through a couple of vendors. Most of them have, their modulars look just like their portable buildings where it's a slant roof. You have high side and low side. And Bridgeway Island, all their modulars are pitch. And we wanted to make sure we got a pitch building.
Thanks. Glad that it matches. I have a question about the Alice Norman solar. It looks like it's in the middle of the parking lot. Is that true?
Yep.
Is it high enough so cars can drive around it?
It's one of the higher ones, yeah.
It's a shade.
It's a shade structure.
It is a shade structure for cars, and that is a bus. That's your bus path is back there too, and so that's one of the higher T structures so that the buses can actually drive underneath it.
And baseballs are too far away from it? I noticed the baseball
Yes,
field
they
right
are.
there. Okay, good. Thanks. Great job.
Ms. Lewin?
I just wanted to mention real quick, and maybe a longer conversation, but the Bridgeway Island, the 3 classrooms plus the science classroom, you're saying that the 3 classrooms hold 32 students, 96 students altogether?
Mm-hmm.
We're still hearing Bridgeway Island being impacted. Do we have any new messaging that we can give to parents in the community about what specific grades or, with this addition, and I know it doesn't solve all of our issues, with the load at that school, but just some messaging about how this takes care of, some of those upper grades. How does it affect our kindergarten classes? I just like a review of that. It doesn't have to be tonight, but just some messaging that I can, give to folks that ask out in my area.
Yeah, we can definitely bring that back to you. Your capacity growth, there's about 100 kids by adding this modular building, because you had a portable building that's being taken off and you're putting on a modular building with 4 classrooms. So your net growth is 3 classrooms, 32 kids average per 96 kids. We can definitely bring that back. We're also in the process of finalizing a demographic study. We have enough going on that we want to have the demographics report done annually. We didn't do it there for a little bit because there was no growth and there was no increase in student population. So we feel that with the economy turning up, it should start being an annual thing. So we'll get that finalized and we'll tie that into what we've done at Bridgeway and then the future plan for Bridgeway and, of course, as development happens down south.
Thank you.
Kirby Gonzalez.
Okay. And the West Sac Early College Prep also looked like the solar panel maybe was on the side. So that was the other one too to note maybe.
Is it in the parking lot?
It looks like it's not in the parking lot.
It's not in the parking lot. That particular space is it's an asphalt area. It's a tarmac that was built when that school was modernized some 10, 15 years ago. They put portables there, moved kids out of classrooms in the stick-built buildings, rehab those buildings, and then move them back and forth. And so that's just a space that used to have portables. We've actually moved all the portables off that and repurposed them somewhere else in the district. And so we felt that was a better use of the space versus taking it and putting it out in the field. The other option was out in the big field, and it just didn't seem to work out there.
Okay. Well, I was so excited when we partnered with Chevron, and then when it came through, and I know they changed their name, and it came through as mostly just solar panels, that my heart sank a little bit. So district office, I guess, would be my main concern, because it's already not the most attractive building, as we all know, and I worry a little bit about how that would look and if there's a way to work in parking. My third would be, we talked about putting things out to bid. We have, as you know, our resolution that talks about contractors having apprenticeships. And was that in any of the language that went to those folks? Did they see that? Was it in any of the documents from Washington Unified that we had that?
The pre-qualification document does ask about their apprenticeship programs. Any of these contractors that bid on this, when they get to the actual contract phase, it will be specific in their contract, and it's something that they expect, and it's something that they know because it's in government code. It's something that we're bound by, and any contractor who's working on a multi-million-dollar project anticipates that. So it's not necessarily called out in a pre-qualification document that you're going to have some specifics, but what we put in our contract is actually more detailed than we have in the MOU with, it's not NCCTI. I can't remember the name of the group. I can't remember the acronym right now. But it does meet the intent of the board's resolution to have the apprenticeship programs and then have some of the students from River City, maybe be able to get involved in that, and, that relationship that we're building there. So it will be in their final contract documents, and it won't be a surprise to them because they have it in their contract documents already.
In the future, can the resolution be added to any documents that go out from our district to the package of when they apply? Because I did hear from a contractor that they didn't realize that there was this resolution.
Yeah, they might not be aware of the resolution, but they are aware of the code requirement to have an apprenticeship program, because they're working on public works projects. So, but yeah, we can make sure that the resolutions are, so they're heightened to it. Sure.
Good, thank you. And then my last one was also about, I agree, the district office, I think we're probably all in agreement that there's a lot of need there, facility need, but certainly the timing of this rolling out, the roof makes sense. That was in the bond discussions, but the timing coming out is a little bit concerning, knowing that we just passed a bond and people are expecting some improvements at schools. So where is that money coming from, one? And I know there's a lot of need, but is this the main priority, or is roofing at some of our other schools the main priority?
Well, if I had a picture of the covered walkway for the district office, I'd be able to visually answer that question. It is falling apart around us. In the bond initiative, your priority projects was re-roofing, and there was about $10 million in re-roofing, and out of that $10 million, $1.5 million of it is for the district office. The roofs at the district office are now becoming some of the worst out there. As far as the reconfiguration of the space on the inside, agreed that timing is not the best, but as it stands right now, we don't have space for people. We have people who are working in a building that originally, I think the first section was built in the 30s. We're still working through at this site some of the final mitigation issues of some of the hazardous materials and things like that. So the timing is not great, but as far as the need is there, it is real. The funding, like I said, roofing does come out of the bond. The rest of the funding is other facility funds that, we've had parts and pieces here and there. It is a project that if you felt needed to have a different timeline, we could have a conversation about that. But know that right now, if you have, I have staff that they're in temporary desks. So in between, the growth that you've had in the educational services staff, the growth that you've had in the HR staff, they've outgrown their spaces. So there is definitely a need to reconfigure. It makes sense to reconfigure it now, be done one time, you move forward.
My very last one with the district space is we had somebody come and speak to us actually in public comment about having a ramp. There's not access to get up there. Would that be a
Is this at the
piece of
district
this?
office? District office does have a handicap ramp.
But there's no sign to say where it is, or I can understand how people get there. So
Yes.
could there be a better way to have some access there if there's not a ramp that would be put in with this? Then could there at least be a sign made to explain where the ramp goes?
The vision for the district office, what you saw tonight are 2 out of 5 wings and the MPR. The second phase of the district office, we'd like to come and facelift the front of the building. So it's the entrance to the old YOLO high school site, which is, we'd have to do a little bit of paving there because we exceed the 2% grade, but you can create a new entryway there versus the entryway we have right now, which is having to walk up steps. So that is on our mind as far as how you flow people in and out of the site. It doesn't flow very well, and frankly, it's because it's been hodgepodge together over the years. So definitely on our mind and something that we will get addressed. In the meantime, we'll get a sign that says the ADA access ramp is from the side.
That would be a good idea. Because I've gone with somebody in a wheelchair down the back steps, and it was horrifying. I would just have to say that. But I'm glad to see the district doing something, especially in Dayton's office, where leaky walls and roofs, and, in Bill's office, where it's hodgepodge of people all mixed together. So I'm glad to see some improvements made there, because I think we need to treat our administrators well, too. I mean, it seems like asbestos is coming out of this place. I mean, it's just old and it needs some improvement. It's probably not.
No, it is not asbestos coming out. Thank you.
Scott, I had a question. I was looking when the proposals are due, and I'm not sure of what the history has been of the district, but do you tend to stay with the same contractor, or do you look at each bid individually, or?
They're rated individually. For instance, on the Bright campus, we had 3 bids, and we've only worked with one of the contractors previously. And so we're going through, we did a paper evaluation of them. They're all scheduled for a formal interview next week. And then there's some additional reference checks and things that we'll do on them before we actually go into contract. So, no, I would say we have yet to have a major project that the same general contractor has worked on time and time again. Turner did River City High School. The Riverbank project was done by Swinnerton, and the Westmore Oaks project was done by a different company. So, no,
So just
we're not
because you
seeing
have
the
all
same
these facility things going on, it's not necessarily one contract?
No, it really depends on the marketplace and how busy they are. Some of the bigger companies that we hoped would have come to the table for at least the Bright project, we got a decline from them because they're already too busy. They don't have the capacity to do it in the time frame that we want to do it this summer.
Okay. And then I just want to confirm, the culinary project there at Bright, the old Bright, I don't know if we'll keep it that name, but that was approved prior to the bond monies, right? So None of that's bond money. It's all.
No, that's
we
not correct.
approved
It is
pri-
bond money. There was seed money to try and get the project going, but the Bright program and the CIP for the Bright program is bond money. We have $19 million in bond money to invest in the Bright program.
Okay, but we approved that prior to the bond, though. We approved the culinary.
You approve seed money to get culinary started.
Okay.
So I guess the point is, there is not $19 million in some other funding source to rehabilitate Bright.
Okay.
That's really the point. We're going to need the bond money to finish that
I just want to make it clear
project.
so everybody understands.
Yeah.
And lastly, and looking at this, one of the important things I think for all the districts are those lovely pink lines that go through here, which are the fences that make our campuses a lot safer. But do you know what kind of fences are going to go up? Are they the ones like at Riverbank or?
The fences that you're seeing on you're talking about the solar arrays?
Well, through all the projects I see, let's see, I thought I saw what.
I believe it's the solar arrays, and what you're looking at is
Pink
you're looking
lines.
at
Well,
temporary.
Elkhorn Elementary has these pink lines through it.
It's temporary construction fencing. It's not permanent
Oh, it's
fencing.
not permanent?
No.
Okay.
That's a different phase, and that's done through, ADA access upgrades and safety upgrades that we're going to do through the bond program. But what you're looking at for solar power phase 3 is temporary fencing to safe off the site. So while they're working especially at Alice Norman, where you still have little kids during the summer, they're not able to get anywhere near that construction site.
I just didn't want our schools to start looking like prisons with those bars that we removed from Riverbank finally. So I just wanted to make sure that was.
No, if you, again, I encourage you to look at the front of the Alice Norman campus and see how we took out the wrought iron bars and we went to more of a traditional fence. It's wrapped in green, so it's softer. Doesn't have the steel look. And then you have the gate that has, access is controlled from inside the office. So that type of setup is what we're going to look to replicate. It doesn't look ominous. It has more of an inviting look to it,
Right.
yet it's still secure.
Okay. Any more questions?
And just a comment, I just agree with Sarah that next time these bid proposals go out, I would like to see that resolution attached. Because the general contractors see those.
That's easy to do.
And I like, and they should be applying also to the subcontractors. Is that correct?
Again, it should flow all the way down, but when there's a subcontractor, our contract is with the general contractor, and the general contractor assumes responsibility for an apprenticeship program.
So you don't include those in the way you score at
The
all?
subcontractors? Well,
Because since they're part of the general, you don't?
we
have any
will
input
look at
there?
the subcontractor and the value of the subcontractor in say, a lease-back type of project. In a design bid build, if there's a subcontract, we can ask for a list and say, we don't want a particular subcontract because we've had a bad experience with them, but we don't rate the subcontractor specifically because it's the general contractor who holds the contract, and it's the general contractor we hold accountability with.
I just have one. Westfield wasn't on here, and I know you're concerned about the gate in front. What's the time? Is there a timeline for doing another gate at Westfield?
No, there's not. As far as access gate, no. I won't get to it this summer.
Just checking. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Information item number 2 is our strategic priorities for 2015, which we worked on at our special board workshop. Is there any comments, questions, modifications, Ms. Leland?
I just had a couple of items in the top priority for the board policy agenda. On the second one, the support Common Core toward college and career pathways, I would really like to see something that moves us as a board from a top priority with just limiting us to the Common Core curriculum, which we know the management agenda has the implementation of Common Core. I would like to have something a little more visionary and open, and I have some wording, and you can, disregard it or let me know. I have something like promote visionary education programs for effective college and career pathways. And I'm just saying, I'm just kind of focusing on that one because I think there's so much more we could do in this district around college and career pathways in the future. And it's not limited to just Common Core. You know, I think it's articulation with our community college programs. I'm going to keep, you know, stressing that. And also with, you know, our UC programs, and so that we're really tying career technical education, again, with that A to G requirement, college readiness. But at the same time, I think we need to be visionary in Washington Unified and say, you know, we may want all of our high school students to have completed some career college pathway, and at the same time they graduate, they're getting their AA from the local community college. This may be out there. Many states are already doing this. Many high schools are already doing this. But I think it's where the board needs to be in more of a visionary place for our priorities. And I just felt like the Common Core relationship to career and tech was too limiting for me. And then another in the top priorities, I felt like, you know, that we could, on the third one, that it says refine policies that support healthy, safe, secure environment. Maybe we could get a little more creative on that too, that we're really supporting, you know, even with the way we plan new facilities, we're talking about state-of-the-art facilities that really enhance our safety and the environment that students experience. And so, you know, maybe we put state-of-the-art. That's where we want to go. I see these top priorities from a board policy agenda. They have to be more visionary. They have to be more far-reaching. And so those would be the only two things that I would kind of champion here to help us think a little further out than what we have right in front of us.
Any conversation, comments?
No, I agree. I think she has some excellent points, Mary. I think as a board, we perhaps need to lead in some of those areas, as you said. You know, the text visionary, I think that calls upon us, you know, to meet some of the challenges that the community is entrusted in us, and I agree with that. I like that wording. And as for the state of the art in the, you know, in the environments, I think that's again, you know, asking us to meet the challenge, you know, for the future of our children. So I do like that wording.
Thank you.
Second. Ms. Kirby-Gonzalez.
I appreciate your points, and I read it too. It feels a little flat, and so I agree. Want to add some oomph. I'm grappling a little bit with visionary. I think in some ways we just want to, some things take it and just really enhance it, give the kids those rich experience. In some ways, back to basics sometimes too. What we're hearing a lot from the community is some of those small learning environments and some of those, and it's not this brand new big gimmick, but it's just really enhancing a richer experience. But there are certainly times when we need to be visionary and do something very different and outside the box. But I'm grappling a little bit with it, just being visionary, because there's times when I want to get back to that, you know, rich stuff that we know is so good, and it's just. So I'm grappling a little bit with that word. If it would be we would promote rich educational experiences towards college career. If there might be some wording that we could think about there, but I appreciate your ideas.
So it sounds like we all agree on those two items. I always like to keep it short, and for item 2, I will suggest, and we can discuss, but I thought promote and engage college and career pathways. And maybe for number 3, just take out refine policies that, and leave in support healthy, safe, secure environments. Short, sweet, to the point, but open to hear other wording. other?
How about leaving the word visionary out of the number 2 and just saying promote effective educational programs for college and career readiness? It took out your engage, but what we're doing, we want them to be effective, and that may take, a number of different forms. I don't want to go.
I don't think we
too
need the
far.
word education, because, that's kind of what we're all here for is education. Of the other words. Can you leave out
Promote
parents?
effective programs. For college and career readiness.
Yeah, that sounds good. Say it again, Mary, please.
Promote effective programs for college and career readiness, or pathways, I should say, college and career pathways. Promote effective programs for college and career pathways.
How's that sound to everybody? Good? Get that? Is Angela there, or? I can't see.
Yeah.
And then for number 3? I
said it
just,
fine.
yeah, I just took out the first 3 words and left support healthy, safe, secure environments. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep. And I liked how the management agenda talked about empowering the community, and we used that word, and I was wondering if it might make sense to put it on ours too, that we are also working to empower the community. So maybe engage and empower the community for ours
Our
as
high
well.
priority to match with it?
I'm sorry.
What do you think?
Where, what? In which one?
So for our high priority, it's community engagement, but I thought empower or engage and empower the community. You're good with, so then
I
it
like the
mirrors
word
a little
engage,
more
Yeah, because
the
you're
empower.
engaging the community.
Empowering through community, is that what you're saying? Empowering through community engagement? No.
Just engage and empower the,
engage.
not
Okay.
just, but engage and empower the community.
I like that. That's,
So we want engage and empower the community. Well, no, because you have the word engagement.
It could just be engage
Oh, sorry. Engage and empower the community.
Okay.
Sorry.
Group
I'm
editing.
good.
We're good on that. Did you get that, Angela?
Got it.
Any more? Do we need to have this was discussion, right? Where am I? I lost mine. Okay, we are to action items. Action item number 1, to approve the multi-year contract with financial auditing services between Crow, Harworth, and the Washington Unified School District. That you, Scott?
Yes, it is. This is timely. We've had the same auditor now for 4 cycles, and that's what their contract was for. And we went out to bid with the county office, and we received, I believe, bids from 6 different organizations. 2 of them declined to bid, all 4 of the entities within the county, 5 counting the county office. And so what you have in front of you is a recommendation for a contract with Crow Horwath. It's a 5-year engagement. We'll get a new engagement letter with them every year. They were the low bid out of the 4 groups that bidded on Washington Unified, because we asked for a multi-year package. And they are a recommended first choice, obviously. They weren't the highest point score total. There was a difference in points, but I believe it was less than a percentage point in between this group and the group that had the highest point, which is our second, would be our second recommendation, which is Nigro. The rating and evaluation form is attached or was attached to the agenda item, so you could see that as well. Again, a 5-year engagement at low cost of $36, which is below what I believe we are currently paying or paid this last year for the services of James Martin Company. And I'll take any questions that you have on this particular item.
Any questions, comments?
I just want to say, I think it's nice that we are going with a local company, but they really are an international company and have, I think 100 different offices throughout the world. But what I really liked about them, and I don't know if it'll affect our audit or not, but they are such a philanthropic company. They give away, Katie, you should perk up your ears, but, communities and schools, different programs in schools and colleges, they give out about $1.4 million about every year. It increases. So I just thought they're located, right down by the Capitol, but they really are known for their foundation and philanthropic support of education. And I don't see that often with large companies, so I like that. It was kind of a, cherry on top of the sundae.
Okay. That'd be a conflict, but thanks, Mary.
I know. Yeah.
Any more comments, questions? I get a motion to approve the multi-year contract for financial auditing services between Crow, Harworth, and the Washington Unified School District.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Action item number 2, to approve the administration's proposal to reinstate 1 Director of Facilities and 1 Administrative Secretary 2. Is that you, Scott?
Sure. This agenda item bring forward to you, if you read the transmittal, back in the 10-11 fiscal year, we actually laid off the Director of Facility position and the administrative support position. At that point, the district was trying to save money, and so it was primarily a cost-cutting measure, but it was also shared with the fact that development had pretty much come to a stop, and you really couldn't justify having a Director of Facilities anymore. We just were not supposed to be doing that level of building that would warrant it. And so the services were taken over by myself. We parse up part of it out depending on what we were doing. I've received some support from the Director of Fiscal Services or the Director of MOT, or in the case of the Bright School, we're actually getting some assistance from the Director of Food Services because of the Culinary Academy concept of the project. But as we continue to move forward, the economy is rebounding. I think you see in the transmittal, we're getting over $1 million, $1.5 million of developer fees. Our low when the economy was flat, we had 1 year, we had developer fees of about $20,000. It had come to a complete dead stop. So that's picked back up again. You see the new developments going out by Bridgeway Island. We're hoping that the Liberty project comes online here before too long. And you've got a $47 million bond program. I felt at this time it would be in our best interest as the district as a whole to bring back a Director of Facilities and Administrative Support staff, understanding that this is not a permanent position, and the folks that apply for this job know it's not a permanent position. It's very cyclical. We expect this to be at least a 5-year position. If the economy continues to boom and the southern part of the city builds out, it could be a 10-plus year position. We just don't know that yet because we don't have enough of a crystal ball. So our recommendation is to bring this back. We wouldn't put a specific time frame on the assignment. We just have a position that we've had before. I believe the job description that is attached to this was originally approved by the board in 2009. That's when the board first brought on a facilities director. I don't know if they had one before that, and that facilities director, I believe, was brought on specifically for the River City High School project. And again, like I said, in 10-11, we laid that position off because the level of work just wasn't there. Any questions?
I do have 2 public comments on that. Don Stauffer.
Hello again. I just had one quick question. I noticed that the funding source for this is the Fund 25. And I'm just asking to ensure that the general fund money wouldn't be slipping into that to back it up, that this is actually coming out of project, and developer fees as opposed to general fund money. Thank you.
Deborah Hearn.
Oh, thank you. I have more of a concern. We did have that position before. My concern is that in the transportation department, we have already added 3 management positions just over a year, maybe. I don't think it's even been a year and a half. They have 3 new supervisors that people are answering to now. And my just concern is how many more supervisors or managers do we need in that department. I know that department is in need of buses. I'm hearing from a lot of my members, and I've even had conversation with Ms. Dawn Manning, that the buses are breaking down a lot. They haven't had any new buses. The newest buses that's there, they're about 10 years old. And I was just wondering if we could just maybe, the amount of money that it takes for that position to pay that person, I think it was a total of $167,000 with the secretary and the director. Could we, maybe get another bus because of the bus problems? I'm just, really concerned of, when talking with some of the members, they're saying sometimes that they have to call the parents to come pick up their special need kids or maybe just the regular kids because the buses are breaking down. I'm just wondering if we could use that money for that or try to use it for, for that purpose, instead of another management, because they just got 3 new supervisor positions a little over a year ago. And I just, maybe you can explain to me what we need all the managing and supervising in that department. It's more of a concern because I really do know that we need to do something with the buses. I know that Don Manning had been saying for the past couple of years that they're going to buy another bus, and that hasn't happened yet. And our kids need to be able to get home. So that's my concern. I just want to share that with the board. Maybe, we can look at that since that is really a need. I'm not trying to say that position may not be a need, but I mean, having to call parents throughout the year on a regular basis to come pick up their kids because the buses that we have now is breaking down sounds like that's really more of a need. So that's my concern with that, and I'm hoping that, with all the new monies that is coming in, I know the LCAP for this year is bringing in twice more money than last year. We can kind of start looking at the bus situation for that department instead of hiring more managers. So I am concerned of that, and I don't want us to become top-heavy because we're getting more money. A lot of districts go bankruptcy or have financial problems when they start getting top-heavy. That's another concern of mine. So I just want to share that with you guys, and maybe you can bring some light on it to see if maybe this is not a concern or not a worry at all, but it is a concern of mine. And thanks for listening.
Thank you. Any comments?
I have some questions. Ms. Hearn said that there were 3 new management positions. Were they previously there? Before the this director of facilities was back in 2009?
Paint the picture for you. The director of facilities is not part of the maintenance, operation, and transportation department. Okay. It's a completely different group. We did add 3 management positions to the maintenance, operation, transportation department in response to a FCMAT report that said that particular department was well underserved as far as management level because you had one manager overseeing 100 people. It's just not sustainable. So that's an issue that you have over here. The bus issue that Ms. Hearn brings up, absolutely correct, and we will bring back some information for you on purchasing buses because it is something that we need to address. The funding source for the positions that are on the table today Or Fund 25, you can't use that money to buy a bus even if you wanted to. It's specific facility money. So I couldn't divert that money even if that was the most pressing matter in the district. We do have some ideas and some thoughts on how to leverage some other people's money to get a better purchase for buses, and we'll show you that. It's a pretty good plan. So as far as the management staff, there was a director of maintenance operations, and then there was a supervisor of transportation. So there were 2 management folks in that group before, and one was laid off. And we brought back 3 lower-level supervisors in response to the FICMET study. So there has been a change in the organizational structure of MOT, but be very clear that MOT and the facilities department, they don't report to each other. They have to work off of each other because you have a group that does planning and does construction, and they have to be talking to your group that's going to maintain the building after it's turned over. And so there has to be some crosstalk so that we make sure that we're putting in parts and pieces that these folks know how to take care of from a routine maintenance perspective.
So who's been taking the role of Director of Facilities since 2009?
That'd be me.
You've been doing a good job.
Well, thank you. And again, depending on the project, I've had some help from others. The Director of Fiscal Services helped on a particular project. Dawn Manning, the Director of MOT, has helped, and one of her top maintenance guy has helped because as we're doing some of the smaller projects, it fit right in their wheelhouse. And again, Carrie Pina, the Director of Food Services, has been helping us with the Bright program because of her insight into culinary. So we've really kind of, hodgepodged and kept it together, but it's getting big enough to the point where it really warrants having somebody managing just that aspect.
Any more questions? Oh,
Well,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And you also mentioned that you said it wouldn't be an indefinite position. It would just be for...
Well, it's circulatory. I mean, if the economy goes away again and we stop building, then we wouldn't be able to justify having, 2 salaries at $150,000 to $175,000 if we're not doing any long-term planning or construction. So I don't have a crystal ball that says the economy is going to be viable enough to warrant this position for 10 years. I think you have at least a 5-year position because it'll take us 5 years to go through the Measure V bond dollars because we're going to do 3 issuances of the bond. So it's at least a 5-year job.
Comments, questions?
No, I want to tell Deborah that I appreciate you bringing up the concerns on buses, and thank you, Scott, for explaining the different funding streams, but it sounds like we're going to hear some updates on new buses. I just want to say that I support this action item. I think that we are in the process of being accountable, first of all, to the community to get these projects done and get them done on time and on budget. And that's really hard to do when you're having to use staff that has so many other responsibilities with our budget and all the administrative services that Scott's office provides. And on top of that, have to manage some pretty large facility projects. And so this is, I think, a fairly typical request when you have facility projects in front of you. And I just want to say I would support it and just appreciate the clarification of how we can spend developer fee versus bond fee versus transportation. That's always nice to have that clarified. But again, I would support this using the Fund 25 to bring on some additional help. And I don't believe yet, we did a management study at Washington Unified a couple years ago. I don't believe we've reached the point where we're top heavy, but I think we need to be constantly aware of that. I don't even think we're in a mid-range. I think we are down some management positions in respect and as we compare to districts around us. So I think it's a good thing to bring up and to be, conscious of, but I don't think we're there yet. We're not top heavy. I don't even think we're sort of in the medium with our management staff. So I feel pretty comfortable about about the vote from that respect.
Mrs. Kirby Gonzalez?
I understand a perception, and so I appreciated you clarifying that. I did not know about the buses, so I appreciated hearing that too. Obviously, not acceptable if people are truly being told to come pick up their kids. But I think that that's something that we're going to have to talk about and deal with separately from this, since this is coming out of developer fees for to help with the bond and other things we're looking at. So a 5-year position, we revisit it in 5 years, see where to go from there. I feel comfortable with that. As long as the money's coming from developer fees, I think there's a big job right now with the bond, and we want to show people that we're doing well with it and being efficient with it. So I support this to revisit in 5 years.
Ms. Villegas, anything?
I just want to say thanks, Deborah, for bringing that up. You know, we love our buses up here, and we want to make sure that they're working right, and thanks for bringing that to our attention.
And thanks, Mr. Mansberger, for clarifying that. I wasn't too sure, but it was a concern, and thank you for clarifying.
Yes. I had a couple of questions. I know this is just a job description, but I don't see anywhere where it says it's, I'm saying limited term, but 5 years.
It's not going to necessarily say that in the job description. I think we're going to get to a point in time where we're going to evaluate whether or not the position is warranted, and if it's no longer warranted, it'll be laid off, just like it was in 2009-10.
Yeah, but we're talking 5 years now, but down the line, I mean, is that going to be in the contract, 5 years? I mean, you're kind of saying we'll look at it whenever. So it could be 8 years, 10 years down the road. So it's not really a limited position if we're just going to look at it.
We could, I'd have to work with Dr. Peacham, but I'm sure we can come up with something that says it is a limited term contract that gets reevaluated versus what we typically have in our management contracts, which is they go on until you would lay them off for lack of need or lack of work.
Yeah, don't all managers have limited terms? Seriously.
Aren't they at will?
It's not, it's a,
No. No.
no, I'm just saying that you don't have a contract. You can be laid off at any point in time if
That is correct. They're at will
you're not,
employees.
if the position isn't needed. You have no protection.
We do, if I could just chime in, we do an employment contract with them, but they're not at will in that you can just release them. We would have to go through the layoff process, which we
Okay.
do. We've done, and as Scott pointed out, we did that previously.
And this position is only going to work with the Measure V projects, is that correct?
No. This position, the Director of Facilities and Planning would work with Measure V. It would work with development for the new school that might happen in the Liberty area. If they have, I'm not going to remember the other two developments. One is Yarborough, and I can't remember the third one. If they continue to have the development, that's what this position would do. Doing a demographics report, doing a developer fee study, anything that's associated with facilities, construction, and planning. That's what this person's responsibility is.
So why not a supervisor instead of a director? I'm just curious.
The level of responsibility.
There's nobody under the director, right? Just the secretary?
There's just the secretary and all the contractors that they would interact with and the consultants that they would hire and have to manage. It's a level of responsibility issue more than specific staff underneath them.
Because our other directors have management under them, employees under them. So we're taking one position, giving them a large salary with one secretary. Employee, I understand they're going to be working with contractors and, you know, I'm asking questions that the public's going to ask, and I just want it to be all transparent and out so everybody can.
You know, I have not considered trying to find a facilities supervisor, primarily because I don't think you're going to get one. Not to do the level of work that we're going to ask this person to do. They're going to run a program that is going to have revenues of over $10 million a year. And that, to me, you're not going to find somebody at the supervisory level as far as what we would pay at a supervisory level. That's going to take on that level of responsibility.
I would like to see something in the contract that we review it in 3 years to see where they're at, what they've done. If we need another 3 years, I just don't want this to fall off the radar at some point. And
Point taken, we'll work on that.
any more questions, comments?
Did you want the motion to reflect revisions or that the contracts show a 3-year review?
I would like
Did you want
that.
the motion?
I would like to make a motion for a 3-year review to modify the action item for the reinstatement of Director of Facilities.
And Secretary, too. What is it, admin?
Do you want me to do the motion?
Sure. Sure.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the administration's proposal to reinstate Director of Facilities and Administrative Secretary 2 with a 3-year review on each contract.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are to consent items, but I believe Dr. Gillian, did you want to pull one of those items?
Thank you, President Cruz. I do, in fact, want to pull item 4 from consent for additional review of process. The safety plans have been completed. Jerry Smith was ready to bring those forward tonight for action, but something has developed that I think requires a little more scrutiny, so I'm in the process of investigating further. I plan to bring it back at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And at this time, we are going to re-adjourn into closed session and hopefully come out sometime this evening.